Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a new to BookTube tag. I probably should have done this when I first started BookTube, but I didn't really think about it. But now I figure with the new year, it's a pretty good time to do it. So I asked for questions on Instagram and I got a few responses, so I'm going to be answering those first. And then I just have some general questions that I looked up, so I'll do those after. So the first question is, what is my favorite fictional character? This is really difficult because I have a really hard time picking favorites. I'm going to limit myself to books instead of TV shows and movies because that's much broader and a lot harder to answer. So my favorite fictional book character, there are a couple. One would definitely be Grover from Percy Jackson. I really loved him, and just that type of character I love. The comedic relief, that's like my favorite character. That's always my favorite, is the comedic side character. So Grover is definitely a favorite. I love Pippin from Lord of the Rings, but I haven't read Lord of the Rings, so I guess I can't say that. I love Alan from Kidnapped and then Catriona. He was my favorite character in that book, in both of those, and so he's a favorite, definitely. I love Ziri from the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. He is just the sweetest. I love him too. So I have a lot of favorites. I like Midir from the Chronicles of Fairy, which I'm currently reading. He doesn't get a lot of book time, but for the amount of time that I did see him, he was definitely my favorite. So I don't have like an overall favorite character, I guess. I have a lot of favorites from the books that I've read, but those are a few. Usually the comedic side characters, or usually a side character. Like, I love the main characters too, especially in Percy Jackson. I love the main characters. I love Percy, I love Annabeth, I love all of them. But Grover was my favorite, and he's a little bit more of a side character, and that tends to be how it is. I don't think I answered that too well. I'm trying to think of other books and characters that I like, and nobody in particular is coming to mind as my favorite, but those are a few of my favorites. The next question is, who is my favorite author? I have two favorite authors. Robert Louis Stevenson. He has been my favorite author for a really long time. Actually, reading Treasure Island is what got me more into reading. I still am not a huge reader, and I haven't been a huge reader for a long time, but Treasure Island was the first novel that I read, and I read it several times, and I absolutely loved it. And I have read most of Stevenson's other classics. I think I've read all of his classics now, but then he has a few other books that are a little bit lesser known, but I haven't read them yet. So Stevenson is definitely one of my favorite authors. He has been my favorite for a very long time, and will always be one of my favorites. A new favorite is Laini Taylor, the author of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy and Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares, and I really love her writing. I haven't gotten to read Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares yet, but hopefully I will be able to read that this year sometime. But she is an absolutely incredible writer. Just going off of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy, plus the companion books, so 4 books, it was incredible writing. The story was incredible and kept me reading and was action-packed and intriguing, and I loved it. And I loved the characters. You know, Ziri, he is amazing. And I'm not positive I'm gonna pronounce his name right or even get it right, because it's been a while since I've read this series, but I think Hazael, I'm pretty sure that's who it is. He was just amazing as well, and Brimstone and everybody, I loved them all. Like, the characters were incredible. And her writing is just the best I've ever read. I didn't find fault with it, like, at all as I read, that I can remember. I do want to read it again and kind of pick it apart. I'm waiting for the second book. So I have the first and the third and the companion book, and I'm waiting for the second book to arrive sometime this month. And so then I can reread the series, and I'm kind of debating just giving it another fun reread versus rereading it and trying to pick it apart and figure out what exactly it is that I love about it and how I can incorporate that into my own books. So I'll probably read it a few times. I really loved it, and I definitely recommend it. So Laini Taylor is another favorite because her writing is just spectacular all the way around. It's incredible. Do I prefer happy or sad endings? Well, I guess this one isn't that tough. I do prefer happy endings. I love happy endings, but I also don't mind a bittersweet ending. I read Firecombe Manor, and it kind of has both. It has a really happy ending, and it also has a really sad ending, because it's from the perspective of 2 different characters. So one of them is happy, one of them is sad. And it was tragic. The sad ending was just very tragic and sad. But I still really loved the book. And it was a great book. I did really love it. And then this is a movie, but La La Land has a very bittersweet ending. It's kind of a sad, regretful ending. And I really loved it because it was real. You know, the real world doesn't always have happy endings, and that's kind of how La La Land was. So I really did love that as well. So I like sad endings sometimes, but most of the time I want a happy ending. I want everything to work out somehow, and even if it doesn't work out the way I thought it was going to, it's nice when things do work out and when the characters are happy. Or like I said, with bittersweet endings, maybe things didn't work out how the characters wanted them to, and everything isn't perfect yet, but the characters are happy and they're hopeful and they're ready to move on and tackle the next thing. So I do prefer happy endings, but bittersweet is good, as long as it's not just sad for the sake of being sad, or sad with no point, really. As long as there's a meaning or something, I don't really mind sad endings. Oh goodness, I should have thought of this one before I started recording. So what makes me dislike a book? There are a few things. So in order to answer that, I'm going to give a couple of the things that make me love a book. So I love action-packed books. I love books where the characters are characters that I can fall in love with or relate with, or characters that I want to have be my best friend. So if the characters aren't good, I'm not really gonna like the book as much. Also, if the plot is slow and there's a lot of description and a lot of just like characters moving around but no action, then I tend to lose interest too. That's a little bit of a problem reading Robert Louis Stevenson's books, because he tends to have this chunk of story where nothing's really happening and I tend to lose interest and I have to push through it because his endings are always incredible and the rest of his story is action-packed and wonderful, but he always has this little chunk where nothing's really happening. So that tends to turn me off from a book, but I mean, Robert Louis Stevenson is still one of my favorite authors because I do love his characters and I love his stories in the end. So if the plot is slow and there's a lot of description, because I have a very hard time actually picturing things in my head, and I know as a writer that's a little bit strange. I can picture things well enough in my head to write them, but when I'm reading a story and I'm just reading tons of description, it's kind of meaningless to me because I'm not trying to picture it in my head. I can't. I have tried, and I never really see it, so it kind of just draws me out of the story and slows it down for me. So I don't like tons of description. I don't like slow books. I have to like the characters. I don't like villains who are bad for the sake of being bad. So these are a lot of problems that I had with To Kill a Kingdom. If you want to see what I don't like about a book, watch my video on To Kill a Kingdom, because I really didn't like that book and there were a lot of reasons, and that's kind of what I'm using as my basis right now for what I don't like about a book. But another thing is the writing. If the writing is poor, and if as I'm reading the book I find myself rewriting the sentences in my head, that really turns me off from a book too, because I'm kind of wasting my time. If I could have done it better, then what's the point of reading it? And I mean, sometimes I will still read the book for the characters and the plot, but it's a little bit difficult when I find myself just rewriting the sentences because they don't make sense, or they would have been a lot better this way, or they're repetitive, or so many other things. So good writing is a must as well. So to boil this down, things that will turn me off from a book or that I don't like in a book is bad writing, bad plotline, slow plotline, lots of description, bad characters, and evil for the sake of being evil. I don't like that as much. I do have an exception. My one exception to this is Star Wars, because I grew up with the original Star Wars movies, 4, 5, and 6, and, you know, Darth Vader was the bad guy because he was the bad guy. And he didn't need a reason because I was a kid and I grew up loving those movies. And when I watched the prequels, I was very disappointed because it really changed my perspective, and I couldn't just hate Darth Vader anymore. I felt sorry for him. So that is a case where, yeah, I wish I hadn't watched the prequels. I wish I had just let Darth Vader be evil for the sake of being evil, which he's not even, really. I don't think he's bad for the sake of being bad, but he's one of those characters where he doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities, and that's okay because I grew up with that. But now, when I read a book, I don't want to read about a character who just likes being evil, and so they are. So that really turns me off. Also, I don't like books that parallel biblical things without being Christian books. Like where they're paralleling something biblical, but they're making it completely secular and twisting it. I don't like that very much. So that kind of turns me off from a book too. I haven't read a lot like that. I almost put down Daughter of Smoke and Bone because I thought that's what it was going to be. And it was a little bit, but it wasn't enough to really put me off from the book. I thought it was going to be a lot different and something that I couldn't read, but it ended up being okay. And in The Hunter's Moon, there's also a little bit of that at the end, and I didn't really like that. I guess I'd read that one again because it was only like a chapter or two, but it kind of turns me off a little bit. I'm like, I'm not quite so sure about this. If you're gonna put Christian themes in a book, then let them stay Christian and don't make them secular. So, I don't know. I didn't like that quite as much. But anyway, yeah, that's just another thing that can kind of turn me off from a book. Next question is, am I working on another book? I actually am. I am working on a secret project. I really can't give very much away about it. I have a friend who was bugging me to tell her about it, and I couldn't because I don't want to give away some really, really big things in it. Pretty much all I can say is that it is a medieval fantasy, it breaks some rules, and it's got princesses and knights and dragons in it. But it also has some very unexpected things in it, and I can't wait for more people to read it. I do have a couple alpha readers right now, and they're doing an amazing job. I really love them. It helps me stay motivated when somebody else is excited about my book. So since they have been excited about it, and pretty much like the day that I put up a new chapter, or maybe the next day, they've read it already and commented, and that is so, so helpful to me. So I am working on another book. Can't say a ton, but if you watch my Instagram, I will hopefully very soon be adding stuff about the characters, and as I get farther in the book, I will be just giving away little hints, and eventually I'll open it up again for more alpha readers or for beta readers. So check out my Instagram and keep a lookout for new things about the book, which the working title currently is To Save a Princess. And that's about all I can say. Okay, on to the general questions. I'll see how many of these I can answer and how many I can get through. I'm taking way too long to answer this, so I'm gonna try to make this quicker. Why did I start this channel? I started this channel because I thought it would be fun. I have wanted to start a YouTube channel for a long time, and I didn't really know what to make one about, but then when I started doing more reading and trying to grow my outreach and my platform for writing, I decided a BookTube channel was a great way to go. I figured this would help me to read more, and this way I could also build a platform of readers and people who want to read books, because that's what a BookTube channel is for. And that way, when I do more writing and I get more books out, I will have some readers who will hopefully be as excited about my books as I am. So this is partially for fun because I thought it would be cool and I've been wanting to for a while, and I talk to myself enough anyway. I figured why not talk to a camera and put it on YouTube? But I also thought it would be a good way to help grow my platform. And I'm not in this for the money. It would be really, really nice if this channel eventually grew enough that I could make some profit from it. But for now, it's just for fun and to help make new friends and meet people and connect with people. Because that's great and that's what I want to do. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to BookTube? I'm not exactly sure. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I definitely have my own opinions on the books that I read. So I can definitely bring some new reviews to BookTube. Some of these books I haven't found any reviews for on BookTube, or very few, and everybody has different opinions, so I am definitely going to have different opinions than somebody else who reviews the same book. So I can definitely bring new opinions to these books, which is sometimes good, sometimes not. And hopefully this will be a fun channel for people to watch. I'm still trying to get comfortable doing this. It is a little bit strange to be talking to a camera knowing that this is going to go online for anybody to see, which wouldn't be quite so bad if it was just complete strangers, but the fact that my friends and family watch this make it a little bit scarier. Sometimes I will hear my dad watching one of my videos and I just want to run and hide because it's so cringy and so awkward. But hopefully, you know, I can bring a fun channel to YouTube. Hopefully this will be a fun channel, and I do want to do some fun things. I have a video idea for my brother and I to do, and he agreed to it. And it'll be something not different than a lot of other people have done, but different for a BookTube channel. It's not a BookTube video. But hopefully it'll still be a fun video, and hopefully that will help me to branch out into doing videos with other people and just making this more exciting and more fun. So hopefully what I'm bringing to BookTube is a fun, engaging channel and some new opinions and ideas, and I guess we'll see where it goes. What am I most excited for about this new channel? I think I am most excited to see how many people I can reach and how many people engage with the videos and comment and like them. I love hearing from people about my videos. Sometimes on Instagram after I've posted letting people know that I have a new video out, somebody will come back and comment that they like the video or that they like my channel or something, and that's really, really awesome, and that makes my day. I don't know exactly what I'm most excited about. I guess just seeing what happens and seeing if I can grow this channel, and I'm not excited for anything specific, I guess. Just, again, seeing what happens. I don't really know what's gonna happen and if this is gonna last or what, but I'm gonna keep it up as long as I can, so hopefully it does last. What book or series got me into reading? I already answered this. It was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. That's the book, the first novel that I read. I also read the Magic Treehouse series growing up, and I really, really love those. So I guess they kind of helped as well, but Treasure Island was the first novel that I read. What questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? How do you do it? How do you come up with such fantastic ideas for videos? How do you have such an incredible energy in your videos? How do you have such an incredible fan base? Yeah, questions like that. How do you do BookTube? How? Because I'm struggling for ideas and I am struggling to be comfortable on camera. I am comfortable, but I'm not as animated and fun as some people are. Some people are just crazy and I love it, and I could be that way. I am that way sometimes, but it's a lot harder when I'm recording a video to be that way. So how do you do that? Yeah. How do you do BookTube? That's my question. What challenges do I think starting a BookTube channel will be hardest to overcome? Like I've said before, just trying to be comfortable on camera and keeping up with it. I thought that would be really, really hard, but I have been going strong since I think it was September that I started this, and I haven't missed a week yet. And I know once a week isn't a ton, but when I don't read very much, it seemed like a very daunting task to get a video out every week. But it's been working really, really great. So that was something I was afraid of, that I just wouldn't stick with it, but I have so far, and I plan to continue sticking with it. Coming up with new ideas, though, is definitely a challenge for me, because my biggest ideas are just doing book reviews, which is fine. I don't mind just doing book reviews, but I want to do other things that are going to help me engage more with my audience and help people get to know me a little bit more, which is why I'm doing this. And that's why I did the Ben cosplay video. That was a lot of fun, and it was cool to just answer questions and just kind of be not goofy, not too goofy, but to do something different than just giving a book report, basically. So yeah, coming up with video ideas is definitely a challenge too, and sticking with it and being comfortable on camera and reaching people, growing my audience. I have very steadily gained a new subscriber like every week or something, or every once in a while, which is pretty nice. I'm happy with it. You know, when I log on and just randomly see that I have a new subscriber, it's really, really great. And I know that it's going to be slow going at first, but I'm hoping that eventually it'll pick up and I'll start to see more from this channel. When did I start reading? I started reading the Magic Treehouse series when I was 8 or 9, I guess. When we moved to New York, that's the first time I remember like really reading something, because it was the Magic Treehouse series and we got those from the local library. So that's when I really got into reading, I guess, a little bit. And then I read Treasure Island when I was 13. I don't remember actually if that was the first or second time I had read it. I think that was the second time I read it. So I read it a couple years prior, and then I read it when I was 13. So I guess around there is when I started reading. I read kids' books, you know, 8 to 10 or whatever, and then I read a couple novels. But I still haven't really gotten into reading. I don't do a ton of reading, but definitely the end of last year, since starting this YouTube channel, actually, that is when I've started reading more, because I need videos, and like I said, I don't have a ton of ideas, so if I'm going to do book reviews, I have to read books. So I've definitely done a lot more reading since September than I've ever done before. Where do you read? Anywhere. Most of the time I read out on our couch in, I guess it's a living room. We have like a sun porch that's our real living room, and then the other one we just have like a couch and a chair, and nobody really sits out there, so it's a good place to sit and read, and there's the fireplace right there, so it's kind of cozy. So yeah, most of my reading I do on the couch, or else I read on my bed, or if we go somewhere I'll read. I can't read in the car very much. I get car sick pretty easily, so I don't do a ton of reading in the car, but yeah, most of the time I read out on the couch. Final question! Yay! This video is almost half an hour long, so here we go. Okay, final question. What kind of books do I like to read? I like to read fantasy. Definitely fiction. Let's start off just fiction. Non-fiction is not as interesting. I have some devotional books I'm reading, and in school I had to read biographies and stuff, but fiction is definitely what I love. And narrowing it down even more, fantasy. Definitely fantasy. I do like some sci-fi as well, or a good pirate story. If you give me a good pirate story, I don't care if there's any fantasy in it. I love it. So pirate books, definitely, any of those. But fantasy is definitely my favorite. And any sort of fantasy, really. It can be high fantasy in a whole new world with, you know, elves or other creatures or something, or fantasy that's connected to our world. I do also like sci-fi as well, but fantasy is definitely tops sci-fi. I also learned that I kind of like historical novels. I've only read one so far, but I was really, really into it. So I'm planning to get more historical novels in the future and read those as well. I guess pirate novels count as historical, right? Kind of. They're a little bit historical. Fantasy or pirate novels, mostly. And then, I don't know, I've read some contemporary books. I wrote a contemporary book, so I do like contemporary as well, but it has to be more action-packed. Definitely. Oh my goodness, she's so loud. Oh, a book that I do not like, a genre that I do not like, earthquake. A genre that I do not like is romance. I hate romance novels, which is kind of funny because I'm a hopeless romantic and I love romance movies and I love books. Hi. And I love books with a little bit of romance in them. Like if there's no romance in a book, I'll definitely be disappointed. So I like books with a little bit of romance in them, but when the whole thing is just romance, it's boring because there's no action and it's just people talking and avoiding each other and hating each other and then loving each other, and I have never finished a romance novel. So yeah, I definitely don't like romance novels. My books have to be action-packed and interesting and different. I guess kind of different, maybe not, but anyway, before I end this, I have an announcement. I started an Etsy shop. And I've already had my first sale, actually, thanks to a very good friend. Someone I haven't talked to in years, but we recently reconnected on Instagram, and she bought a painting for me. So I have an Etsy shop. I will leave the link down below. It is Artsy Owl Treasures, but like I said, I'll have a link down below, and you can go check it out. And I only have 4 paintings up right now, but I'm hoping to do more painting today and tomorrow, and very often. I'm hoping to do a lot more painting. And so more paintings will be coming. Currently, that's the only thing I have planned to put on my Etsy shop. I'm not super artsy. I love painting and drawing, but I'm not artsy enough to do like crafts and stuff. So we'll see if I put anything else up, but for now, paintings. So yeah, please go check it out. That would be awesome. And you know, check it out periodically because I'm hoping to do some bookish paintings and I'm really excited about those. I don't have a ton of ideas yet, but I do have plans to do some. So yeah, check out my Etsy shop, check out my Instagram, and I guess that's it for this video. This was the new to BookTube tag, and I know I ramble a lot, but hopefully you found it interesting and got to know me a little bit better. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and leave a comment below. I love comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you have a blessed day.